Tech Nuggets, basic workstation and network diagnostic tools. In today's demo, I'm going to be demoing Wireshark, which is a really great tool for seeing all the packets going to and from the machine or the link that you're looking at.
Alright, well, our last and final tool is Wireshark. It is easily the granddaddy of all tools. It is the black belt of tools when it comes to network diagnostics and trying to understand what a machine is seeing and what it's sending. And that tool we will spend a ton of time with in coming labs and lectures. And we're going to kind of go over the basics of what it is and how it works and what we're seeing and what we're not. There are command line ways to collect this, especially if you're collecting like gigs and gigs and gigs of data that you're going to process or parse. Certainly there are command line tools that will do this much more efficiently for bulk collection, but for I want to look and see and I've got a small window of data, Wireshark is the kind of winner of that. I've gone ahead and downloaded the sample file from Blackboard, which is a sample file we're using for one of our assignments, and we'll talk a little about that, but you can see the big blue Wireshark that's appeared over here, and I will start it up. And down here at the bottom we can see all of our interfaces, many interfaces as they go by. Certainly more than we saw earlier. Some of them are software created and others are not. You can also see this little graph, which is a real-time graph that gets updated when it sees network traffic. So if you happen to have something going on, it'll show you, if you have multiple Ethernet cards, it'll show you the traffic that's going on the card. And of course ours is ENS33, so we'll click on it and it will begin to capture. And pretty much we should see rapidly that we're drinking from the fire hose. This is the number of packets since I started the capture. And you can see that we're way almost 50,000. It is a lot of packets that whiz by a machine. We've got some standard tools up here at the top. Stop is the easy one to understand. And we'll say stop. And just in that short amount of time, I collected just a little over 70,000 packets in 21 seconds. That's the time here, time since I started. We can see a source, who created the packet, and where was it headed. And we get some more information like what kind of packet is it, and how big was the packet. The info field can be very useful or worthless depending on the type of packet that it is. And as we scroll back through, we'll see maybe some useful ones and some less useful ones as things are going on. The color, Wireshark color codes them. As we see, they can go by and we can see different things. We're seeing some acts and we're seeing some communication go on. Keep in mind, this machine wasn't doing anything except running Wireshark. It wasn't running anything special. I don't have anything running in the background. Nothing else is going on, but we're seeing a lot of connections going on. This is a quiet machine. This is a machine that's not doing very much as we go. And I'm hoping up here at the top we'll see some more interesting things, but all we're really seeing is a bunch of TCP flows. And you can see there's some color codes down the side here to give some information. Once we've selected our packet, we'll assume that one, just for lack of anything else in front of us, and we'll raise it up. So at the top here we're seeing a one-line summary line is what we call it for the packet that we've selected. And in the second pane here, it begins to dig down into the details, and we start at the top of this panel in the software, and we start at a hardware level, at a frame level, and as we go down, there's 4 little triangles here, each will open up into more information, and as we work our way down the different triangles and different types of packets, have more or less of them. As we work our way down, we'll get more and more virtual information. And by that I mean we'll get farther and farther from the Ethernet card, which you can see here is a hardware address, and it's telling me a hardware address and that kind of stuff. And then we go to the IP layer, which begins to tell me things like what's my IP address that goes with this MAC address. And eventually we'll get to the TCP layer, which is down in here, and we'll begin to see more and more detail about what's going on in the packet. And if we scroll in our third window, as we click along in different portions, we can see the actual binary of what was in the packet. So if it's a packet that has a lot of payload, we can see a lot of that kind of stuff. We can do a variety of display filtering. And display filtering is different than packet filtering. It's worth knowing. Display filtering is just suppressing what we see in Wireshark. Capture filtering is saying, if it doesn't match the capture filter, throw it away. More often than not, people make the biggest mistake by not capturing everything. and then doing a filter display. They make the mistake of thinking, I know what's going on, I only want to capture this kind of data, and they miss something because they're not capturing everything. And again, if you really are an expert and know what you're doing, then capture filtering is the right way to go because you're looking for very specific things, you know what you're doing. But if you're not really sure, you capture it all and you sort it all. And that's the easy way to do it. So in our case, I'm going to use a filter we use a lot. IP.addr says I want to filter on a specific address. We say equals equals, and I'm going to give it my address, 10.101.6.188. And it turns green saying, hey, this is a legal filter. And we hit enter, and it will go through and sort all those packets. And so it will only show me packets either from or to me. I'm either in the source or the destination. All the other packets that might be going by get thrown away. And you might think, well, gee, wouldn't all packets be either to or from me? Surprisingly not. There are broadcast packets, there are a variety of other packets that go by that are not IP packets. There are other styles of packets that are not IP packets. But all of these packets that you see now, and you should see gaps in the numbers and gaps in the time because it's suppressing the viewing of those packets. We can do some logical ORing and logical ANDing where we might say, and I want to see ARP packets. And we will sort, and we have no ARP packets, so there's no ARP packets to see in this case. But we might do DNS server packets. Look at that. We can see some DNS packets. And we can see that we're doing a DNS query. 9.75 is my university's DNS server. So we can see that my machine went out and asked, and it says over here, this is one of those times the info is useful, and it says, well, I wanted to know what the iCloud server is. For some reason it's out there asking what iCloud is. I have no idea why that might be so, but it is. And you can see we got an answer. All right, the server responded, it gives an answer, and if we start digging down in here, we can see what the answer was. We can see, we see domain name server, and we can see the answer we got, and we can see what the query was, and we can begin to dig into information like that. We can go back up to the ask, right? And it'll say, well, we asked for this. This is what I asked for. It's an A record. I'm asking for that. We can look at the response and we can say, well, here's the response you got, and here are the answers. So there's the IP address. We saw this same information in Dig. That's what Dig would have done. It would have generated those two packets, and that's what we would have seen if we'd have Wiresharked a Dig. All right. For class, we've got a pre-made file called sample ITL sample, and I'm going to open it here so you guys can see how that works. And there's open capture file, and there's my sample file. We open it up, and we can make those panes a little bit bigger. And it has kind of a generic slew of different things going on in it for different IP addresses. And this data was not captured on this machine, and that's okay for the purposes of the test you're doing, or the assignment you're doing. It wants you to go look for specific things. So we're going to do a little of that. And it's looking for 233.254. Oops. And it's not here. And just get rid of the display filter, it brings it off. So it says go to packet 58, so we're going to go to packet 58. And we can see packet 58 is not an IP packet, right? Our source is a MAC address, and our response is all Fs, which is a broadcast. But it is asking who has. So you'll notice I did an IP filter for something that didn't have an IP address. Why not? Well, we're not asking at an IP level, so it's not an IP packet. So my filter would not show it. I could have filtered by ARP requests, and packet 58 is still packet 58, but now all I'm seeing are ARP requests. So I can see who's asking, and it'll tell me. I'll get an answer back. We remove our filter. We hit the little X. We can come down in here, and we'll see an ARP response right beneath it, 59, and it's coming from the machine in question. And you can see it's using our MAC address to respond back to us. That's the destination. It's coming back to us. And it's telling us, hey, this is my IP address, and I'm at this MAC address. So we can do some of that kind of stuff when we want to filter and look for different things. The filter system is extremely powerful. There's an expression builder that you can dig through, and it will sort on many, many different things. Oftentimes, the easiest way to go through and look for things is to go in and look. I'm going to pull up a packet here. And you can do things like, I want to filter on, prepare as filter, selected, not selected. And I can say I want to see a filter, selected. And it will select, it built me a filter called IP, and it's showing me just IP packets because that's what I asked for. I filtered on that. But I could just as easily have gone into it and said, I want to filter on, whoops, prepare as filter, selected. Now it's doing IP destination. Only files that are only packets that are going to that destination, not from that to that. So in our destination column, it'll filter on that kind of stuff. It makes it much easier when you're looking for things. If you think you know what you're supposed to be looking for, the filtering system will make this much, much, much easier. Hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll do more.